Hi, this is Lindsay, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hi, this is Baxter Colburn, the host of Forward Madison's podcast, Let Me Be Forward. Join me and Madeline come every Wednesday throughout the season as we bring you in-depth interviews with players, coaches, and journalists who cover the team and experience everything that it means to go full Mingo during the 2019 campaign. A new episode comes out every single Wednesday and can be heard on your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or head to publichousemedia.org. Thanks for checking out the following podcast on Public House Media.
History is happening in High Point as professional baseball has come to Furniture City. Don't miss any of the action from strikeouts,
3-2 cold strike 3 right at the knees,
to web gems,
stabbed by Alfonso, he spins, throws to first, and the pick by Bichette grounds out a beautiful play.
to home runs,
High fly ball deep left field. This one is gone. Get up and get out. Tyler Ladendorf.
and of course, every rockin' victory.
The pitch. Swing, strikeout, the Rockers win. The first win in Rockers history here at home.
Interviews, recaps, and insights from across the Atlantic League. It's all fresh off the Rockers.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Off the Rocker podcast. I am one of your hosts, one half of the High Point Rocker broadcast team, Kevin McMahon. I'm joined by the other half, the second half of the broadcast team, Kendrick Foots. We're at full strength this week, and Kendrick, we record this right after the Long Island Duck High Point game on Sunday. And it was an interesting one. So let's. Where do you want to start? The Ducks won today, 11-4. Do you want to start on Friday, or do you want to start here? We'll start on Friday.
Yeah, we'll start Friday with the win. Michael Bowden comes in and he's fantastic for 6 innings on Friday and really sets the tone. Quincy Lattimore hits another home run. Rockers win on Friday 6-1, and at least at the time being, we thought that was going to set the stage for a pretty awesome weekend.
We didn't. It was a good game on Saturday night. Dominic DeMasi goes through 8 innings, and we had a tie ball game 2-2 in the 9th, and a really tough play at first. And I with Steven Cardullo, and he was going. The ball was hit to him, and nearly touched first base. And we were talking about it today. I think when he didn't touch first base, was hurrying to make sure he got the throw home, and it rolled out of play, and 2 runs would score. So, unfortunately, a tough break for the Rockers. Doesn't go their way, and the Ducks end up winning 4-2, and then that set up a game today where the Ducks jump out to an early start with a 2-0 lead with a 2-run home run by Ray Fuentes, and you got to give credit to the Rockers. They come back in typical Rocker fashion. They come back, and they never gave up, and they come back, and they lead 4-3, but then the Ducks keep coming here.
Yeah, there's really no other way to say it other than the fact that the Ducks just battered the High Point pitchers all across the yard here today. 19 hits, 11 runs, 2 home runs. Lou Ford, the former Minnesota Twin, goes 5 for 5, and just an absolutely fantastic offensive effort. Freeman, 3 RBIs. Frias had a couple. Everybody either scored or drove in a run today, and really the best pitching performance the Rockers got in the 9th inning was their catcher and center fielder Miles Schroeder came in and spelled the bullpen and ended up, he gave up 1 hit, but he picked up one walk, I should say, but he got 3 outs other than that and actually looked good. Fastball and a curveball combo there.
You were pretty excited about that, so getting to see Miles Schroeder come out there.
Yeah, a lot of times, when you see a utility guy come in to throw a garbage inning or whatever, they're lobbing the ball in at 60 miles an hour and just saying, here it is, hit it, let's get out of here. Miles Schroeder was having none of that. He said, I'm going to pump it in there. I'm going to give you a curveball when I get to a 2-strike count. And he was gunning for a strikeout. He never ended up getting one, but my goodness, he could have. And
it was just one of those days where everything went right for Long Island. They had a really good day. They had a record-setting day, or record-tying day in their single-season record for most hits in a single game, which is 19. That happened against the York Revolution on June 1st. So now when you look at that record, it'll be a tie, and it'll bring up today's game. 19 hits, 11 runs. Just a good day for the Long Island Ducks. And what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? So with the win last night on Saturday, it was a half-game lead for the Ducks. A win here today gives them a game-and-a-half lead.
Yeah, and, Rockers go on the road now to the Barnstormers, and it gives them an opportunity to maybe try to get some of that back. The big thing, this was a very disheartening series if you're a Rockers fan, but if you're a Rockers player, you cannot allow this to snowball. You've got to stop the bleeding. They did that coming into this weekend too, where they had a rough series on the road last weekend, but then they came in and did a good job once they got home to stop the bleeding and stop the skid, which is what Michael Bowden did Friday. They're going to need those guys to do it again as they hit the road. Now remember, with Chris Pennell and Lucas Irvine being on the injured list right now, it's going to be up to Edwin Carl, and you can go back around to the top of the rotation. These guys are going to have to step up. They've been great all year, but they're going to have to step it up one more notch now.
And we talked about it on the end of the broadcast here, and you can always listen to us on My48, or you can listen to us on Spreaker, watch us on YouTube, and you can watch us on My48 locally in Greensboro and Winston-Salem in the High Point area on Saturdays and Sundays. But as we said at the end of the broadcast, there's a game tomorrow. If you're listening to this on Monday when it comes out, there's a game tonight. They are on the road. Their High Point Rockers are, and they take on the Lancaster Barnstormers. So plenty of time to move on and focus on the next thing. And one of the great things about this High Point Rocker team is, they never get too high. They never get too low. They come in and they're always ready to go. They're always in next game mode and ready for what's up next. And they always come in with great attitudes, ready to play. So I don't think this is, you worry about the next thing now. And an 11-4 win here for the Ducks. It's a 2 out of 3 series win. They won 2 out of 3 games here and win the series. But the Ducks won the first half. So you want to win the second half, but you want to just make sure that you have the most wins. And so if you're the Rockers, so if it goes wild card, you make it in. And something that happened this weekend. This is big to bring up. Easy for me to say. 60 wins for the High Point Rockers.
Yeah, that's a huge deal, and especially when you talk about the fact this is a brand new team and nobody really knew what to expect from a performance level coming into this year, but they've come in and they've done an absolutely fantastic job. And at the time that we record this after the game on Sunday evening, the York Revolution lost today, so they don't gain any ground in the wild card on the Rockers. And the Somerset Patriots win, but they got off to such a slow start that they're still 5 games behind High Point in the standings. So if you're High Point, obviously today did not go the way you wanted to, but you did not lose a whole lot of ground other than to the Ducks in first place.
And still plenty of games, still plenty of time for the High Point Rockers to get back into first place. And as we have can you believe we're halfway through August? But we have a few more games here in August. I think 10 or 15 so if you include the away games, and then a full slate of games in September. So still plenty of time for your High Point Rockers. As we wrap up this recap here of this homestand, you want to look at some of the positive things from today, and we did that with Miles Schroeder coming out and having some good innings. The hitting by Quincy Lattimore and Ricky Schaefer, who hit one in, and then Hector Gomez, of course, who played a big role and hit some RBIs in. But at the end of the game, Jared Mitchell had a triple, and he's a guy who, had a hit and looked really good in that spot. And I think maybe that'll help him carry over into the next series here against the Barnstormers and then moving on from there.
Yeah, I think absolutely. And I've said this on a couple of broadcasts so far. This year he's made good contact, but it just feels like he's had some bad luck. And I don't know if the league keeps up with the batting average on balls in play statistic. I'm interested to see what his number looks like because he puts the ball in play a lot. It just tends to go right towards somebody. And you saw the speed today, how effortlessly he ran the bases. He has such long strides and made that triple look easy today.
Yeah, it was exciting to see. And I think Rockers fans can expect to see a lot more of that as he continues to, adjust here in High Point and get ready to go. And he had a great triple today that we loved watching. And we had a great conversation with him that was really fun, that I think listeners of the Off the Rocker podcast are really going to enjoy. So it's myself, the media relations coordinator, James Jackson, with me as well. And then we had our intern, John Furr, who, as you'll hear in the interview, it was his last day yesterday. So he came in and he put his, we call him J Furr, and the J stands for journalism. And he came in there and got to ask some questions. So John Furr, James Jackson, myself, Kevin McMahon, and a new addition to the Rockers, the center fielder, Jared Mitchell. And you're really going to love this one. So let's go to that right now. Here's Jared Mitchell. Hey, Rockers fans. Kevin McMahon here with James Jackson. We have John Furr with us as well. And we have Jared Mitchell with us. If you've been following us on social media this week, you saw that he was our guest, and you could ask him some questions, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But we'll start with Jared. You're new to the Rockers in the last couple of weeks. Talk to us a little bit about, getting here and getting used to High Point and being with the Rockers. You come from the Sugarland Skeeters, but now you're a High Point Rocker.
Yeah, definitely. It's been good, man. It's a great group of guys in the clubhouse. The coaching staff is awesome, so it's been good, and it's been fun adjusting. Guys make you feel comfortable, which is good, instead of going in a situation where everyone kind of makes you feel a little weird about it. So that's been pretty good. We're in a stretch right here trying to get to the playoffs, which is fun. It makes you come here and play meaningful baseball. That's cool, too. So, all of that's been pretty fun, man, and it's been good adjusting and kind of getting settled in here.
And going off that, like you said, the Rockers are in a really tight race here as they try to win the second half of the Liberty Division. And it's the Ducks who are in town right now, who have been in the league for 20 years, Rockers in their first year. Is there a little extra juice when a team like that is in here and you know that it's neck and neck for the playoffs and all that stuff?
Well, I think the juice is knowing that, one, they won the first half, so they're in the playoffs. They're also playing well this half, so it's good to, kind of test yourself and see what's going on against teams that are pretty much at the top of the league. That's the juice of it. We know they've been playing well. They know we've been playing well, so, kind of get out there and kind of go neck and neck with each other's. That's what it's about, and that's what's cool.
Jared, you were a first-round draft pick. What was that experience like for you at that young age to be drafted in the first round? Obviously, that's a big accomplishment on yourself. What does that do for your motivation going anywhere?
It was cool. It was a whirlwind of stuff going on at the time because we were still getting ready for the College World Series. We were just getting ready for the Super Regionals of 1 or 2, so we had a lot of stuff going on at the time. But it was cool. It springboards you into a career to start your career, but at the end of the day, once you get in the pro ball, everyone's on the same equal playing field, so you got to go from there and take that approach to it and kind of go like that.
Now, you've had an incredible journey. I'm not going to go into all the details, but do you think that your journey and your story has helped guide you to where you are now and shape the player you are now?
Oh, definitely, man. I think everyone ends up where they're supposed to be at the end of the day. My journey has been, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's been a wild ride, but it's definitely prepared me and grown me to the person that I am today. So I'm, thankful for all of the ups and downs throughout it all, and thankful to have an opportunity to kind of keep pushing and keep going forward.
This is kind of a weird question, but to forecast a little bit, as the Rockets are trying to make the playoffs in a really good spot too, what would it mean to you as a guy who just got here with the Rockers, but you jumped in right away and you've been ready to go? What would it mean to you to get the Rockers into the playoffs the first year if the Rockers were able to get in? And what would that mean to you guys as players and you as well?
I think I could speak for a lot of players. I know for myself personally, every time I put on a uniform, man, it first and foremost is about winning. So to go in a situation where winning is at the forefront and guys are out here trying to get a win and trying to get W's, that's what's important, and that's what makes it fun for me. So, like you said, an opportunity to propel and kind of help push this team, be a contributing factor to push this team into the playoffs, that'd be fun. That's what it's all about, man. So
it's John Furr's last day here as an intern, so we're going to let him put his journalist hat on here and ask a question. You ask your own question. You have your own, and he's going to get into the mailbag as well. But, John, this is your big moment. So here we go.
So this is my personal question. So you played football at LSU. So my question is, do you think Kyler Murray made the right decision picking football over baseball?
I mean,
Great question.
dude, that's it's two different journeys. I don't know exactly how much he had done on either side and what that school made him do and stuff like that. But I guess the best way to answer that, dude, is you follow what you think is right for you. That's what makes it the right decision. Whether it makes you a Hall of Famer or whether it makes you whatever it could be, dude. Like, you have to do what you enjoy and what makes you happy. So if that's what he wanted to do, which is obviously clear, he wanted to go that route, so be it, man. And I hope it works out for him for the best of it.
Great. And then so this last question is from one of the fans. Perry Davis wants to know, if you could play on any team or with any player from history, who would it be and why?
Any team with any player from history.
Any team or player from history.
Never got that question before, but I would be honest with you, man. It would have been nice to have seen like the Bo Jackson / or Deion Sanders like kind of dynamic go on in that time, where they were both jumping literally from the top of one game to the top of the next game. That would have been pretty impressive to see and kind of be around and see how that thing goes.
Do you pick those two guys out and draw inspiration from those two guys as someone who's played football and baseball?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. That's just why I said it's kind of interesting, because I've never gotten that question, and I knew my answer was like not something that I've ever really said before.
Yeah.
But like thinking about it, like that kind of would have been fun to watch from a third person kind of situation. Just kind of sit back and be like, what in the world is going on here?
Because it's insane.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't make any
crazy.
sense.
It's crazy. So yeah, that would have been fun to watch that.
Okay, we'll switch it up a little here, and we'll do some fun ones. I always get flack from the guys because I ask the same question every week. But I want to know. I think it's an important question. So we'll start with, what's on your iPod? What kind of music do you like? Do you like music? Sometimes guys look at me and they go, not big into the music. Who have you been listening to lately, and what jumps to your mind when we ask you that?
I mean, first and foremost, I'm a big hip-hop guy. But I'll be honest with you, I haven't been listening to, like, a ton of music lately. I know there's been a lot of stuff that's come out recently, and it's kind of been, like, overload a little bit, so I really hadn't got to much of it recently. So, I mean,
in general,
I've literally just been throwing it on shuffle lately, and whatever comes on, it like, kind of sparks my interest, whether it's new or old, I'll kind of stick with it, so.
You have an artist or two that you like in general, maybe? I think the most shocking answer was when I asked this question to Miles Schroeder. He's like, I'm a big Too Short guy. I'm like, yeah, I would have pegged Miles Schroeder as a Too Short guy. He's from Oakland. So.
Well, I mean, like I like rap. I like hip hop. I like lyrics. So I'm a Drake fan. I'm a old school Lil Wayne fan. I'm a fan of guys like that. So I like to kind of guys that kind of tell a story when they're kind of rapping and stuff.
Have you heard the new Drake EP?
I have, but
it's the old ones. Yeah.
So I mean, I've been listening to that a little bit. But
that's gotten me through the summer.
But that's all stuff I used to be on forever.
Yeah,
so
we already knew. Yeah,
like I could have easily run across that on shuffle yesterday and then been like, without it even being this new thing. So
yeah, it's nice to have it again.
Yeah, it's still there. I still have it. Real fans still have it. So it is what it is.
So Tim Keenan on Facebook wants to know, what is your favorite baseball film? I'm gonna switch it up and say, what is your favorite film in general?
Favorite baseball film would be Major League, the first one. It's great. I don't think that if you like baseball at all and you know anything about baseball, if you ever watch that for the first time and you can't laugh, I don't like you. So that's where I'm at on that. Favorite film of all time would be Life. The movie Life with Martin Lawrence and Bernie Mac and Eddie Murphy, the old school movie. Favorite movie of all time.
Do we need to bring back the bullpen cards? I think that's what I think when I think Major League.
Man, that'd be great. Dude, Major League is, woo. That movie's funny, man. I can't lie. That's a funny movie. It's so outlandish, man. It's a good movie.
And Giovanni Alfonso, like we've mentioned so far throughout the podcast, that fans could submit questions to you. Gio has submitted a question and asked, who is the most attractive, best-looking shortstop who wears number 1 that you've ever met?
Most attractive, best-looking shortstop that wears number 1. It would have to be. So I played with this guy that I think yesterday tried to make a play and ended up falling on his butt. And for some reason, I don't know if there was like turf that grabbed him or something was going on, but he could not get up. I think he might be the guy. He might be the guy. I don't remember his name, but he might be the guy. If we ever can catch his name, if we can look into yesterday's film and figure out, he might be the guy.
Okay. We'll have to look back at the tape, though.
I've got nothing to top that one.
I think that's it. I think that's the moment of the podcast. I think we nailed it. I think the mailbag's been a wild success. We'll ask a few more, then we'll let you go. You've been so great giving us your time here. If somebody could, there's going to be a movie about your life, who plays you? Who's the actor that plays you? Ryan Kelly, for if you want some past answers, said, I would play myself.
I mean...
Ryan Kelly said he'd play Ryan Kelly.
Okay. Anyway, I don't know, man. I've gotten that question I've gotten the question. I've heard that question a couple times, and I've heard people point to me and say Eddie Murphy. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that's my answer. I don't know, dude. Who knows?
Now looking at you, I can see young Denzel.
Oh God, no.
I can see it, but Denzel's
I'm not
too
that serious.
Denzel's too serious.
I'm not that serious.
I got nothing.
All right, what's your favorite TV show? Have you been watching anything? I know you guys are busy, but when you get some downtime, are you throwing anything on? Are you watching anything?
Well, I'm a big fan of Power. It's about to come on again. I think there's a new season that's starting pretty soon here.
That's the 50 Cent vehicle. Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. Is that it?
I was a Game of Thrones guy. That's over. It's over.
Were you satisfied with the ending?
No, it wasn't. It was
I'm not a Game of Thrones person, but I know that's the question.
It was terrible. No, it wasn't good. I didn't like it.
Well, to recycle a question, we interviewed Dante Bichette on the day of the Game of Thrones finale, and we asked him this question, but I'll ask you since you're a fan. If the Rockers were in the Game of Thrones, who would be on the Iron Throne when it was all said and done?
From the team?
From the team, yeah. My pick was Cardullo. he wouldn't let anything stop him.
Yeah, you might be right, bro. That guy's game ready all day. Yeah, so you might be right. That's a good one. I'm going with that one. I'm going with that one, for real. For real. That's win at all costs guy right there, so yeah.
He's always
100%,
ready.
100%.
Fur, you got another one?
Yeah. What's the favorite city you've been to, or what's one city that you really want to go to that you haven't been to?
Just like in general, or like to play baseball?
Anywhere, just around the world or in the U.S.
I haven't traveled out of the country that much, man, so like that would be fun to do. I guess since we're in the region, I can talk about, because I don't think enough people realize it, but one of my favorite like East Coast sleeper cities is Charlotte. I think it's an unbelievable city. I love that city.
What's your favorite part about it?
It's just there's a lot of life there, man. It's a young and like upcoming city, and there's just a lot of life and people like making moves and doing things, and it's a good young core there. I like that a lot, and it's clean too, so that's cool too. I don't know. I mean, I've been some places. I don't know, man. I've been blessed enough to go a good amount of places in the States to where like it kind of all blends a little bit, but like places like that stick out. Just, I mean, like you can obviously, I can obviously throw out the big name cities and stuff like that, but like I'm more impressed by like cities like Charlotte. Like you don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but like if you go there and you have it's a good time. So like that might be one I can throw out there.
I'm interested to follow up on that a little bit. Stadium that you would love to play in?
Every big league stadium? Is that a good question? Yeah, seriously. That's like a weird, but yeah, seriously, yeah. That'd be cool. Charlotte was pretty much up there when it comes to like minor league stadiums. It's a good spot, but yeah.
We'll ask you, I think as we wind it down here, we'll ask you, this might be the last one, I might ask you one more, but when you think about, your baseball memories, I'm sure you have a lot of them. Is there one that jumps out to you, maybe when you were younger or even recently? Is there one that you look back fondly and go, that was a great moment, I'm glad we were able to do that, or I'm glad that happened?
I'll just go with, honestly, every chance and every opportunity I've gotten to play for a championship has been pretty memorable. It's been pretty fun. I've been fortunate enough to do it close to probably a handful of times, and that's like I said, at the end of the day, you put on a uniform, trying to win. All your like individual goals and stuff kind of go out the door until that game's over, man. But it's about trying to win that day. So the opportunity that I've had in my career to be able to do that has been fun, because usually that's the people that you draw a closer relationship to. So you just draw more memories, and over time, that's the things you remember. So.
All right, and last question for you, and then I promise it's the last one. You've been able to play a lot of places. So where does High Point not necessarily rank, but how have you enjoyed your time at High Point so far and being with the Rockers in general? And as you guys are ready to put on that uniform and continue to win and go for the championship, but how's it been so far? And when you're talking about cities, what do you think about High Point?
It's been good, man. I like the fan support. I think there can even be even more too, but it's been good coming here. The operation side of it, on the baseball side of it, has been good for the players. Things are made kind of pretty easy for the players to kind of get around and do the things they need to do. So that part of it has been good, and I think that has a lot to do with the success that's been had here so far too. So it kind of goes hand in hand,
Well, Jared, good luck, and thank you so much for joining us this week.
All right, fellas. Appreciate it for having me.
A huge thanks to Jared Mitchell, our guest this week on the Off the Rocker podcast. Such a great conversation. Got to learn a few things about him that I didn't know, and just enjoyed hearing all of his stories. And I think that joke about Giovanni Alfonso, that's maybe one of the funniest moments we've had on the podcast. So the mailbag was a rousing success. So we're really excited to add that. It was a great suggestion made by one of our listeners on Facebook. And we got your feedback. We listened. We loved it, and we did it. Another question for listeners you guys can answer maybe. Would you want a mailbag segment here for myself or Kendrick or for James or for whoever else is here hosting the podcast with us, that we could answer maybe a question about the team that you have as a fan here in this part? If that does anything for you, let us know. The best way is when this goes on Facebook to comment there. And we can ask a question there, ask a question when we ask again, and we can help out. Maybe we might know a thing or two. I don't know. I don't think I'm that smart, but I might be able to give you something that's interesting. So as we wrap up here, Kendrick Food's still with me. I'm Kevin McMahon. Let's give you that preview of what's to come. A lot of good stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about Pink in the Point next Saturday, and the Rockers have a 3-game series against the Revolution, and that's going to be a big day. Custom jerseys, obviously, breast cancer awareness, and that day is going to be sponsored by Wake Forest Baptist Health Medical Center. And I mean, that's a huge deal. We all know somebody, whether in our family or a family friend or something. That's a really serious issue. We all know somebody who's been affected by that. So I expect that to be a very moving day at the ballpark. I expect it to be a day that is well attended because, like I said, that's something that affects all of us either directly or indirectly.
The Rockers are going to be wearing custom jerseys. They'll be dressed in pink, and you will be able to bid on those custom jerseys on the live stream app. We just had the Irish Heritage Night last night or Saturday night, and you can go on the live stream app. And I think there's not just the Irish ones. There's some still left from the other nights, and you can bid on those, bid on the Irish ones, and then bid on the pink ones as well. I believe the pink ones are the last custom jersey.
Yes, Christian Heimel did tell us yesterday, though, they're going to wear the Irish ones one more time this year. One of our last home games ends up being like halfway to St. Patrick's Day, and he said that they're going to wear those again. So you can go ahead and bid on them, but the team's going to need them one more time.
Yeah, but this is the last new one we're going to see.
Absolutely.
A lot of great custom jerseys this year that I've really enjoyed. So I think that's been a really fun thing that the Rockers have done. And then on that Saturday, August 24th, it's Digging from Diamonds, a great promotion by Simon Jewelers. So if you want to know what that's all about, you got to come and see it here at the ballpark, courtesy of the great folks at Simon Jewelers. And then we're going to have post-game fireworks as well on Saturday. On Sunday, it's a beach bash, okay? You're going to get 1,000 fans are going to receive a custom High Point Rockers mini beach ball. That's fun.
Absolutely it is. And, if you got to take a late trip to the beach, I know school's just started back, but, fall break, you might be able to find a spot where it's still warm enough to go down to the beach, and you'll need a beach ball.
It's a family fun day. It's a high sock Sunday. The Rockers will be wearing custom socks. That's kids run the bases, so you want to bring your family out, bring the kids out and enjoy that. A day off on Monday for the Rockers. And then on Tuesday, they're still here at BB&T Point. It's Taco Tuesday. Come out and enjoy a specialty taco for a very low price of $2 for a taco. And then, speaking of $2, it's a 2-can Tuesday, which is sponsored by the United Way. Every Tuesday game, you can bring 2 cans of food and receive $2 off. And we'll go ahead and do the whole time. We'll talk to you again before these games, but we'll go ahead and get the whole homestand for you so you have something to look forward to. And you can plan a little bit as this summer winds down. I know school's starting back up. Kids are going back to school, and that fall schedule is already heating up a little bit. It's STEM Day. Bring your students out for STEM Day. Come out and learn at the High Point University STEM Lab while enjoying the Rockers game. And it's a school day, so that's an 11:30 start. Or that might be a 10:30 start. Yes, that's a 10:30 start. It's a school day. We're done. Can you believe it? We're done with summer camp days. We're already back to school days.
Well, all I know is those morning games have gone well for the Rockers. They've won their last 3 of them.
And then it all rounds out Thursday, August 29th with a $1 beer night. So a lot going on at BB&T Point. I believe that is 6 games in that next homestand with a off day on Monday. So a lot to look forward to if you're a High Point Rockers fan. In the immediate future, the Rockers go on the road to take on the Lancaster Barnstormers, and then they return on Friday night. It all starts, and they take on the York Revolution, and that starts at 6:30. So that's all we have for you here this week on Off the Rockers. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, if you're listening to us on Facebook or Spreaker, thank you so much. You can also get it if you listen to a lot of podcasts. You can get it where you find those other ones. It's all in those usual spots in the podcast store on your Apple app or in Spotify and all those places. And if you want to, you know, it could be nice. You could subscribe and then and do all that stuff and review and, you know, help us out a little bit. And thanks for your feedback on Facebook. The mailbag, great. I'm pumped about the mailbag. But that's all I have. You got any more for us, Kendrick?
Hoping that things go well this weekend with the team on the road and the homestand coming up. This past weekend didn't quite go the way we wanted it to, but, gotta just erase it and you start with a clean slate tomorrow.
That's baseball, baby. It keeps rolling on. The show rolls on, and this show has come to an end here. So, unfortunately, right now, we must bid you adieu, goodbye, good night. Kevin McMahon, Kendrick Fruits, John Furr, James Jackson, Jared Mitchell. We all say thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Off the Rocker podcast, and we'll see you at BB&T Point.